Hello and good morning. Super excited about today. Um, I know it's late. It's 9:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I had a few of you say, "Man, where are you? What's what's going on?" It's late. And I'm sorry. You know what? This morning I I went on a run, so that was super fun. And well, let's just recap. Let me just give you a recap of what's been going on in in my life for the past few days. So last week, I put a deal out on my Instagram, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, you need to go follow me on Instagram. That would be great. But last week, I went and I put a poll on Instagram, and I said, if you would, there's a marathon coming up, a half marathon or a full marathon, and so I put it on there. I said, vote. If you want me to do the full marathon, I'll do it on Sunday. If you want me to do the half, I'll do it. And 71% of you jokers voted that I do the full marathon. So I kind of figured that would happen because I'm so loved by this community of people, and that you would want to see me do a marathon. And so on Sunday, like as in just a few days ago, what's today? Thursday. So on Sunday, I ran a marathon, 26.2 miles. Has anybody ever ran a marathon before? You're on here right now, and just leave me a comment, say yes, or maybe you want to run a marathon. You're like, man, I would like to run a marathon someday, because you totally can do it. You totally can. Now, I've been training for a minute, really not training to run a marathon. And so let me just tell you about my experience while running the marathon. It was great. So I started out with my wife, Erica. She did a marathon relay team, which is really cool. So she had three different ladies with her, and they ran a marathon relay. Would anybody even be interested in running a marathon relay? Is that something that you would do? I see you here on Instagram, Megan and Mitzi and PB Kirby, digital content creator. Good to see you guys. And if you're watching on anywhere else, if you're on Facebook, a lot of you are on X right now. I want to encourage you, tune over onto YouTube and leave me a comment. Say, what's up? Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me what's going on. So back to the marathon. Sunday morning, my wife is the first leg of her relay marathon, and we start together. Well, we start good. I felt really good about it. We were about a 9:40, actually a 10:40 pace, and then it got faster. I was like, babe, you guys to go. Like, I can't hang here for 26 miles. And so she went and ran her 6, and man, I felt good. My goal was to do a 10:30 pace the entire time. And man, I was doing good. I was doing real good. And until mile 6. Well, this was okay, but mile 6 hit me, and here's what I was learning as I went in the marathon, and I was going to all the different like checkpoints and stuff. Every single little like water place, they had like one porta potty, and I was like, man, that's not very smart. Like, they need to have more porta potties at each place. Well, as I was going through mile 5. Woo, boy! Again, if you've ran a marathon or you've ran and you hit the and you're running and it's like, oh gosh, this is not a good situation. So mile 5, I was like, this is not a good situation. And so during mile 5, I was like, I've got to find a porta potty. Well, there were no porta potties available. And so what did I do? Mile 5, I took a pit stop into a gas station. So I'm this runner in this race, and I cross over the road, and I go in this gas station, and I'm like, hey, do you have a restroom? And this lady's like, no, you must buy something. I'm like, ma'am, I don't have time. I don't have time to argue. I'm like, I'm lying. I'm saying all the things. Like I will do whatever I need to do, but I gotta go. And she's like, it's back there, but you must buy something. And so I went in and I was like, oh, it was a 7-minute pit stop, if you will. And I left and I said, ma'am, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't buy anything, but I made a deposit. so, so that was mile 5. And as I kept going, man, as I kept running, I felt good. I was hitting 10:30 pace, boom, 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 boom. And then mile 22, y'all, mile 22 just snuck up and got me. It got me. It snuck up and got me. I was excited. I felt good. I felt like, man, I'm doing a good job here. But um, but but y'all, it was something else. Mile 22, like everything started hurting. My bones, my feet, my my elbow, like my elbow, this area started to cramp up. Like what? Like it was like, uh every everywhere I go, I was like drinking water in the sweet church. It was Sunday morning, so the sweet church had people out giving bananas, and I was eating everything in sight. But I did really good. I hit my goal of under 5 hours, so that was a W. That was a huge win. That was a huge win. So yeah, that was fun. Have any of you guys ever done a marathon? Or what's the furthest that you have ran before? What's the furthest that you have ran before? Let me know in the chat. I'm just curious. You're like, I don't run. The only time I run is if I'm being chased. That's what a lot of people say. So yeah, I love it. Also, if you're on here right now and you're like, man, Michael, I would like to go live with you right now. If that's you, message me. I might just pull you up live and we could do a live coaching session right now, live, me and you. That would be really cool. So if that's something you would like to do, like to talk about, let's do it. Say, hey, I'll do a live free coaching session with you. That would be incredible. Let me know. Say, yeah, I want to go live right now. And if you have not seen my new website, guys, I don't know what you've been doing. So I want to show you my new website. I'm very proud of it. So how do I do that? So here we go. Check this out. It is nextstepcoach.org. Nextstepcoach.org. And so here let's check this out. Let's check this out. Boom! Oh, I love it. I think this looks great. I think this looks so good. So there you go. Build the faithful habits that lead to the life that you want. Practical Christian life coaching for those who struggle with the effects of trauma and want to see real growth in their walk with Christ, relationships, and health. Guys, nextstepcoach.org, right there. And right here, if you click this takes you to the live stream, to my pocket. Boom, there we are, live right there. What a great shot. And then about, look at this, about, it pulls up me. I don't know. Actually, that's not right. So we're gonna go ahead. That needs to be fixed. But finding peace while making progress, grow spiritually, emotionally, and physically strong, live with purpose and resilience. What's keeping you from y'all? I am so proud of this. I think this looks really, really good. So did I do it myself? I did not. Something I'm learning in being a business owner and being just by myself is I can't do it all. I could do this if I wanted to, but you know what? I'm not. And then here's what's really cool. So take the next step. What are the steps that people can do to work with me? So usually I want to meet with you one-on-one first and just jump on a call and see how we're doing. Like what are we working on? And then as we plan our session, and I go through my 5 hope steps, which I'm very proud of. My patent 5 hope steps. I don't even know if that's a thing, but I feel proud of my 5 hope steps. And then you get to see the real growth in the life you already have. And what has been so cool is Since I have been a Christian life coach, helping trauma survivors find hope, man, God has just been doing some really cool things in people's lives. I mean, really, really neat things. Just seeing people healed, seeing people walking in freedom, and seeing the enemy attack people as they're growing in their growing in their walks, and as they're clearing up some things that are happening in their mind, because that's going to happen. And if you're on here right now, just say hi. Don't just watch. Say hi. Let's interact. Say hello to me. There's quite a few of you that are watching, and I love that. And if you're on YouTube, if you could like it, give it a little heart, that would be really cool. So practical. What was I saying? I don't even know. Oh, then, so Michael, how can I work with you? Some people ask that question, like, man, I don't really know what you offer. What do you offer? Well, let me show you. I offer three different things here on my menu. There's actually four, but I just want to talk about three. One of them is a 90-day. It's 90 days with me, one-on-one. And this is called the Premier Transformation Package. So that is 90 days. Every single week we'll meet and we will talk about, we'll look back a little bit and we'll look forward a lot. Also, you get unlimited email and text communication. My 90-day devotional that I wrote, I send it to you every single week, and we just talk, and it is awesome what God does. That is the Premier. Also have the Elite package, which is 60 days. So it's 60 days, which is you and I would meet for 60 to 7 minutes twice a month, as well as unlimited email communication, 60-day devotionals, and you're also in my live group sessions. And that's also, you get the group sessions with the Premier as well. And then a lot of people right now, they're doing the Pathway to Renewal, and that is once a month. We meet, and that's a monthly payment of $99. And we meet twice a month because we do a one-on-one for 45 minutes. And I also send you some devotionals, and you're in my monthly group session. So that's the different ways, which I love about this website. It just makes it super simple to see. You know, y'all didn't even get to see that. So that's a bummer. Let's see here. There we go. You didn't get to see this. So let's just go back up. This is the Premier Transformation Package. This is the Elite Breakthrough Package. Again, this is 90 days with me. I work with you one-on-one every single week for 90 days, unlimited email and text, plus a 90-day devotional, plus live group coaching sessions. It is a phenomenal package, and I encourage you to check that out. Or for a friend or a family member, this is 60 days, very good as well. I meet with you 3 times a month, because twice one-on-one, and you also get unlimited communication with me via email and my 60-day devotional. And then you're also in my community. All of these you get into my private community. And then, like I said earlier, my Pathway to Renewal, this is $99 a month. We will meet once a month one-on-one, as well as my group session. So those are my different packages. I also have another package that is that's not listed here. That is a really man, it's intense. It is really for those who need some intensive ASAP, and that's where I'm meeting with them 2 times a week. I meet with those clients 2 times a week on Zoom for 60 to 90 minutes, and I do constant check-ins. And I'm totally dedicated to those people. And so again, those are the different ways, and that's on my website. Y'all need to go check out my website, nextstepcoach.org. And also, wherever you're watching from, let me know where you're watching from right now. Let's see. We have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We got 20 people watching from different streams all over the place. And a lot of people watch the replay. And so I think that's pretty cool that you guys watch the replay. But here's what people have been doing is they have been referring me to family members and friends. So right now, there is a sadness, there is a loneliness, there is a lot of isolation that's happening in our world, and there's things that are happening to people, and they're just not sure why in the world this is going on. And so somehow some people have found me on social media, and what's been really neat is they have had me reach out to their family or friends that they're really struggling, and it's been neat to have my friends and family do that. And so, man, I would love it for those of you that are watching. Man, do you know somebody that just needs someone to talk to right now? Maybe they're afraid to go to a counselor. Maybe they're not ready to take that step. Maybe they need help finding a counselor. Man, I refer a lot of people to counselors all over the country. So, but that's what I do is I coach people and I help people for them to take their next steps. And we look back a little bit in their trauma and in the different things, and then we look forward. So do you know somebody that needs help? Maybe it's your husband, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your son, your daughter. I've also worked with adult children who are just struggling, and they're still living at home, and man, they're depressed, or there's things are happening in their life and they can't get unstuck where they are. Man, that's been really cool to do that as well. But something I want to share, something that really yesterday, I think this is so good. I think this is incredible. So as we talk about, and you hear the word trauma a lot, like you hear it and you're like, trauma this, trauma that. And I just want to talk about what that really means. What is trauma? And how can I help take it to a place that it's not so scary and it's not this thing that all this stuff. So something about trauma is this. Trauma, check this out. Trauma is not what happened to you. It's not the abuse. It's not the war. It's not the pain. It was the wound that you sustained as a result of the abuse, of the war, of those things. So if it was the wound that you sustained as a result of the sexual abuse, of the physical abuse, of you were, at war, since it was the wound, here's the good news in that. Here's the good news in that it was a wound. Because if trauma is a wound, and it is, that happened to us, then it can be healed. How great is that? Think about that. If trauma is the wound that happened to us, it can be healed. And here's the other side of it. If trauma is only what happened to us, then it happened and there's nothing we can do about it. So sometimes we start talking about trauma, and we start talking about these things, and we start talking about trauma as the event, and that's okay. We start talking to trauma as the abuse and as that awful thing that happened to you. And that is true. That did happen to you. But the trauma is actually the wound. And the great thing about it is you can heal that wound. Like think about it. Trauma is a wound that leaves a scar or an imprint. And for some people, that scar or that wound is open, right? And as you're living your life, you have this open wound and things are happening. And maybe somebody comes along and touches that open wound. Oh, I don't know if you've ever had that where you've got a wound and it's just and then someone touches it, or you pour something on it, or it hits something, and it just sends you into it just sends you into the next universe, because that open wound, man, someone hit it and it's just like, man. And that's the same with that's trauma. That's the wound. That's it. That's the scar. And sometimes we're walking around and we're wide open, and that thing touches the open wound, and you freak out, you get upset, you get mad, all the things happen, the emotions come up. And there's some people who walk around and their wound, if you will, that they sustained because of trauma is not open, but it's covered. It's hard, right? It's just covered up. It's rigid, and it's really hard. And they walk around and they're hardened to life, and they're hardened to all the things, and they have no emotion, And it's just like, ah. And so that's the different type of wounds that you have because of what happened to you. And so so what's great about both of those different scenarios and situations of trauma is that since it is a wound that happened to you, and some of it is open and some of it is hardened and covered up, that it can be healed. That is beautiful. And I don't know who needed to hear that today, but I want you to know that the thing that happened to you is not the trauma. Because if it's a thing that just happened to you, then that cannot be healed and it's just something that happened. But the thing that happened to you created a wound, which is the traumatic event, which messes up our psychological, our psyche. It is a psychological wound that happened. And if that's the case, then that wound can be healed. And how do I know that? I know that because I'm living proof of that. I had years of traumatic events that happened to me when I was a child. And that didn't come up until I was 38 years old. And I'm just telling you, everything was great. And my life is even better now. But because I was able to heal the wounds and worked really hard and decided, man, I'm going to go all in on trying to heal myself and do what I can. Now I have much more capacity for things that I am just blown away by. And you do too, even though you may not be able to see it, or maybe your friends and family or someone that you love has experienced something and that wound is either open or it is covered up and it is hardened and it is just that wound. Here's what's really neat is it can be healed. And how can it be healed? Well, it can be healed by talk therapy. It can be healed by getting a Christian life coach. It can be healed by medicine. It can be healed by going outside and going on a walk. It can be healed by getting away from the things that are constantly causing the triggers to happen in your life. It can be healed. But one way you've got to deal with it is by looking at it a little bit, like going back a little bit. A massive technique that I use with a lot of my clients is writing it down. Writing down the events that happened to you. When you write them down, even though it's so hard to do, and I remember when I first started writing down some of the things that happened to me, it was so hard. But man, it was so freeing because it took the top off of all the stuff that I was constantly thinking, and it was just in here. I was able to put it down on pen and paper, and I was able to write it down, and man, it was great. And so I want to encourage you, that is a way to start your healing process. When I meet with my clients and we talk about things, and if they're ready to start talking about the past, then I have them write down the story. Write down the story. And again, there may be people in your life right now, and you're like, Michael, I'm not ready to deal with this. I'm not ready. There's people that have hurt me that are still alive, and I'm really not sure how it's going to affect them. I don't know what's going to happen. They've got a family. I don't want to ruin their life. I don't want them to be mad at me. I don't want to get fired. I don't want to. And so we start bargaining, right? We start bargaining with all these different emotions and feelings that we're having when it comes to dealing with some of these traumatic events, because some of the people may still be in your life. Well, here's something that I heard, and I absolutely love it. Here's what you need to know. If you're afraid and you're worried and you're nervous of how you talking about the events that happened to you in the past and how much they hurt you, and that person is still around, and you're afraid how that person is going to react, here's what you need to let them know. If they don't want to be a part of your story, then they shouldn't have played that part in your story. And so just remember that. If they're worried about you telling the story, then they shouldn't have played that part in your story, because that is your story. And you know what? It's okay to tell your story, because when you start to tell it, when you start to write it down, when you start to let it out, you start to heal. I just want to encourage you today. I hope that helps somebody out there, and I know that it will. I hope you guys have a great day. I am fired up about this Thursday. Thank you guys for being on here from all over. If you are watching on Instagram, Facebook, X, all the things, man, come on over to YouTube. It is really cool what's happening on YouTube. I hit over 600 subscribers this week. What? I have a goal of 1,000 subscribers by August 2024, and I think I'm going to hit it. I do. I'm pretty excited about that. That is exciting. And if you could share this stream, especially the part that I start talking about wounds and I start talking about trauma is not the event that happened to you. Trauma is the wound that happened because of the event. Man, share that with somebody. I hope that you have a great